welcome to Justice Losers, the most unqualified podcast exploring irrelevant questions about entertainment, namely movies, TVs, and comics. I'm your host, Preston, joined as always by my delightful co-host,
Batman.
And joined for the third time?
Something like that.
Who knows?
Who knows? Good old friend Brendan.
Good old Brendan.
He's been friended. So Matt.
So Preston.
We saw Shang-Chi.
I did too.
How it said.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. So, quick overall thoughts. What do you think? Matt.
I liked it. I really enjoyed watching it, but I feel like it's not going to stick with me very much.
Okay.
I think it does a lot of things well and very few things poorly.
Okay.
But very few things exceptionally well.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a great time. I'm kind of with Matt though, like nothing was done poorly. I'm just, I was pleased with just the end result. I was really happy with the fact that Awkwafina's character was not a constant, loud comic relief.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Actually had depth, actually participated in things. Mm-hmm. And my favorite thing of all with her was, okay, we're going to teach, you're going to learn how to shoot an arrow.
No spoilers. Not yet. We're going to do a little spoiler section. I just want to
We'll do some, yeah.
Why did you say we can do spoilers?
We will. I just want to make sure.
We'll do kind of an overview, big level
okay.
First.
Yeah. And then
we'll dive in.
Yeah. I am kind of with you though. I don't know how much staying power necessarily it'll have with me. Mm-hmm. But as far as what I've seen from Marvel recently, I think it's one of the better things that they've done. Mm-hmm. I had a lot more fun watching that than I did Black Widow.
Okay.
With the exception of one very particular, a line, and then an entire sequence, I think it's in my top 5 Marvel movies.
Okay.
Ooh.
I genuinely loved this movie, with the exception of those two very specific points. But it's just I had so much fun watching it. All of the combat was really cool, the martial arts and stuff like that.
Action
I didn't
is
feel
really well
campy.
Done. Right.
I think one of the best, if not the best villain, because it just felt the most well-rounded. It's in the trailers that he's his dad, and so naturally that's a very important, it gets done well the entire time. The way the movie is laid out to give you explanation, how they do backstory and stuff is just fantastic, and the characters are great, and then it's just, I loved this movie. I would go watch it in the theaters again.
Oh, you got the father-son thing going on.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
another thing.
That is a thing that I have.
One thing that definitely stuck with me about it was all of the characters had good depth. I think you can have depth and then you have so much depth that it becomes a hindrance. Mm-hmm. This was not that. All the characters were this is well thought out. This is well done all around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go into spoilers. Thank God they didn't make Awkwafina the romance.
They kind of did.
They set a couple breadcrumbs that in the next movie, if they want to go that route, then they can, and it won't feel random. Mm-hmm. But she's his best friend, and it's clearly his best friend, and they make it very clear, and they end the movie with them just being best friends. Mm-hmm. And I love when they do that. I love the Black Widow and Hawkeye just best friendship. And I hope they keep it this way, because I hate when it's just the female side character that's just the love interest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I wanted to piggyback off Brendan's point where it would have been really easy for Awkwafina's character to be annoying. It's clear that she's improvising and everyone else is scripted, and it kind of is jarring. But I actively thought about halfway through the movie, it's man, it's really nice to have someone other than Rebel Wilson in this kind of role.
Yeah.
Because her comedic style is very, it's supposed to be delivery is brash.
Yeah.
It's loud. It's up there. This was not that. It was a big surprise.
Yeah, she had serious, like, Kaylin was happy that she got a serious role.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was funny and she had a lot of funny lines, but it never felt artificial. It never felt out of place in the universe.
It felt like she was like, okay, I'm going to focus on how I actually work on this and deliver this, and I'm going to meet it. And she did an excellent job.
Yeah.
She felt like a funny person in a normal world.
Yeah.
Not Rebel Wilson prancing around.
There felt like there was a lot of depth with her too, of like the
fact that she cared.
Yes. So like she cares so much, but she has gone through her life just like carefree essentially.
She's the
and like there's the moment where like they're talking really deep, and then Shang says like, I'm gonna kill my dad, and she's like, I don't know how to process this. And like that makes sense with that character. Like a lesser written character would be like, I'm gonna get up and confront this, but like
or quip.
Yeah. But like her character, like that makes sense that like she is so out of her depth right now, and like it feels like that the whole time. But she's like, the entire thing I'm here for is my best friend, and I'm gonna do everything I can. And like I guess archery. I guess I'm good at archery.
Well, and okay, and I said that earlier. Like, okay, they gave her one thing. I would have been so mad if it was they spend 3 days there and then all of a sudden she's fighting just as good as everyone else there because because she found something within her the whole time.
Right.
Like, no, she did one thing, kind of did some things like by accident, but she just did one simple thing, practiced it, and was able to help out to the best of that ability.
Yeah.
It wasn't her like suddenly like, wow, I'm going to hop on that dragon and control all of that and do that. No. Like if that happened, like,
and they definitely set the stage with her of like,
there's room.
She she's not just like, she's good at like nothing. Like she just hasn't found that thing yet. And then with archery, it's like, she kind of found it, but she wasn't an immediate prodigy at it. Like she missed the bullseye. Yeah. But like then she got better. And then also the way they handled her actually like landing that shot at the end was really good, because it wasn't her going, I did it. She's like, oh my god, I hit it! Like,
which is about the most realistic,
bigger than the broadside of a barn, but
yeah.
But like it added to she's not just suddenly Hawkeye.
Yeah,
like she has some semblance of skill that we will see developed in future movies. But like this was almost completely luck.
Yeah, and it fit.
Yeah,
she's the avatar for our generation. She's happy-go-lucky and there for her friends, but kind of doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
And then she picks something up and gets good at it and finds a lot of satisfaction from that.
She's going to go home to her parents who are like, get a real job. And she's going to be like, cool, I'm now the archer for like the new Magic Avengers.
That final scene where they're inside the restaurant telling their friends about this.
That was so
I was
good.
pissing myself
That
laughing.
was so good. By the way, I'm just going to say this real quick. This has a little bit to do with the movie, but Wong is the magic Nick Fury. Yeah. That's completely what's going to be happening for the next several movies, is Wong's going to be going around collecting all the magic people, and then they're like Magic Avengers, and I am so happy it's him. Like, he could have been like the side character for one movie and then half a side character for the next Doctor Strange, but now he's just everywhere. He's in Endgame. I love Wong. So Benedict Wong is such a great actor. I love him so much.
Ooh, I got some things to throw in there. Emily pointed this out. So one of the very, very final scenes, I guess, is his sister takes over the compound and you see a whole bunch of people training out there. Emily thinks, what if those are the other widows?
That would be pretty cool.
Ooh.
They now have a home where they're specializing in something. She thought it. I'm like,
focused really hard on
because like suddenly
I like that, because they like on the dolly out, like it was like, these are all women, and I was like, is she going for like just a full on like women League of Shadows? And then there was like some guys, right? So I was like, that's really weird that they focused hard on just women, but then also there's guys. So it could be that like maybe I just didn't like, people didn't notice it.
I drew the parallel, but I didn't make that connection.
Yeah,
because like whenever I saw it, I'm like, okay, what are they doing entirely? Like, is she evil? Is this just the world's most empowered terrorist organization? What's going on here?
Oh, you'll actually get this joke now that you've seen the Dark Knight trilogy. I called her Ra's al Ghul.
Fair.
I was proud of that joke.
But
I'm still proud of that joke.
I said that, and then Emily, like, I think on the way out of the theater, she was like, well, what about this? And I went, oh, that's much better.
Yeah.
That's a lot better.
Yeah.
There's a reason she's the smart one in the relationship.
Yeah. I think, well, I really like that it seems like they're setting up two different threads simultaneously in the universe. They're setting up this magical stuff with Wong going around and Nick Furying everyone. I guess we can say Wonging everyone because that's kind of what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's his own person. He's not the second Nick Fury. He's the first.
Oh my God,
Wong.
are we going to get a Wong's Big Week?
Yes. Yeah, we better.
Do you know what Fury's Big Week is? Iron Man 1, Hulk, Thor, and...
Iron Man 2.
Oh, Iron Man 2, Hulk, Thor, and the awakening of Captain America all happen within a week. And that's just called Nick Fury's Big Week. Like, that's like, everything happens all at once of the Avengers coming together.
If there's one character who's powerful enough to do it, he's one of them.
Who?
Wong. Yeah.
Yeah. But then they're also setting up the ground level stuff with Black Widow, Captain America and Falcon Soldier.
Hawkeye Show.
So
now?
It's all been tied in, like, this is still related to Loki.
Probably.
We don't know entirely for sure, like what the outcome of Loki is going to be.
Because like the implications are unlimited.
Yeah. We don't know. I think those answers. I don't think Shang-Chi is supposed to tie in directly to the multiverse aspect of it. I think like it ends to where he's going to see it next. Okay. But which I really like that they actually did that. They kept it alone. He has his own journey that is untethered to the multiverse exploding now. But then the next thing we see him in will have to do with it. We also just need to wait for Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man to happen to see what Marvel's doing with it.
What if Wong starts training Katie? Because we don't necessarily know that, like, the magic or sorcery, whatever, that they use, it's not like, wow, it's within your blood, you're capable of it. It's training upon training upon learning.
Yeah, like we know with Doctor Strange.
And we know that she is smart because she went to UC Berkeley, has, I think, like some kind of really advanced degree. It's like,
I think Masters.
Something like that.
Yeah,
probably.
That'd be cool.
Probably capable of doing something.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably
and
what's
it's something
happen.
that's within the realm of possibility for, like, timeline-wise. Like, Doctor Strange learned how to do everything within the scope of one movie.
Right.
She's not going to go to that power in, like, in between movies or, like,
the Sorcerer Supreme.
Right, no. But she can at least get to beginner level, like, open up the portal, go through there.
Yeah,
I think she'll be able to do that. And if she's working with Shang-Chi, that's really powerful.
Dude, it'd be so dope for her just to be able to open portals and shoot arrows through them and just shoot whoever she wants.
Or he's or she opens up the portal and then he can shoot the rings through it and come back out.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that going through it, basically grabbing someone and then having the portal slice them in half.
God.
Nice.
Okay, so that's
real quick.
Katie.
I speculated, going back to your Loki connection, they kind of set up at the end there in the post credits that the 10 rings are going to be some sort of mysterious artifact. They're a beacon. They're calling something.
Yeah.
I speculated that they're Kang technology.
Okay.
Because in the comics, at least, he is a scientist. He's not a superpowered being. He's just a guy whose scientific technology is so advanced that he's basically
and they couldn't
God.
Find anything even close to that. Like, yeah, that would be interesting.
So I think that's a possibility.
So that's Katie. Man, we really dwelled on Katie. Great character.
Yeah.
I think she was the biggest wild card.
Yeah.
Walking into it, I mean, it's like, okay, serious actor, mainline comedian, mostly known from doing really, really silly stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? What else did you like about I don't know,
I liked the action.
Yeah. Action was really good.
For the most part.
It could have been so just campy and poorly done, but like it felt like they were able to like pull back the like and kind of ground yet still feel like the martial arts stuff, like still gliding a little bit like into a kick that like was a little bit kind of
Well, they did that in sort of the stylized Ta Lo world where everything is a little bit magical, and that's true. That felt like it anchored it to a place, because in the real world it was very much just like, we're gonna do some kicks and punches.
Yeah,
they're gonna be really cool, but they're just kicks and punches.
Visually, I thought it was outstanding. By the way,
yes.
Until
the big thing that I didn't like was the dragons. Kaylin actively hates them. Like it. Huh. It felt like they didn't need to be a thing. Like, it felt like they could have just made it a different draw for, what's his name? Bad guy. Dad?
Mandarin?
Mandarin. They could have changed the draw, because it's such good character drama and fighting and stuff up until the dragons come out, and then it's just two big dragons fighting each other, and Shang-Chi's just kind of like riding them until like they can shoot the dude with an arrow, but like it just
I get what you're saying, but also you have to remember how important and close dragons are in Chinese culture.
That's a good point.
It's like, if you want to do something that really ties into it without going over the top, okay, dragons are pushing it, but also that one was done so much in the traditional Chinese style.
Yeah, because traditional Chinese dragons don't have wings.
No.
So that was a dragon without wings.
And they're also very friendly and good luck and science, good things happen to humans whenever they're around, which ties in very good to him fighting Mega Cthulhu. Which that was the only weird thing. I'm like, okay, this is totally Cthulhu. Something from an alternate dimension where everything's dark and it has a whole bunch of tentacles and it sucks the souls out of things.
Yeah.
But
I guess that's a thing that I can't really. I mean, I could have my opinions on it. That I just felt like it wasn't completely out of nowhere, because they alluded to it early on enough.
And it is core to them defeating that one specific beast,
right?
And also all their armor, all their weaponry
and everything. It was just like all like that side of it. Just it felt too unhuman.
What, the dragon specifically, or like all the creatures in that realm?
Like that ending, like that climax. Everything was so tied to his, like, I'm gonna call him Sean, because that's kind of what he is the whole time.
Shang-Chi.
His conflict with his dad and his sister's conflict with his dad, and like that whole thing. And then for the last 30 minutes of it to be pretty much like distracting us from that with the dragon. I don't know, that's just how I felt about it.
Well, because they talk about pretty much whenever they're giving the whole backstory of the soul demons, whatever, that humans can do nothing to them. Like you could see Razor Fist like going through and slicing them in half, immediately go back. Like the only thing that could actually defeat them really were dragon scales or the dragon itself.
I get that, but like what I'm saying is I didn't like the fact that it was a thing at all. Like the dragon.
It didn't have enough themes.
Well, it had themes, and then it was distracting us from the themes to make dragons. Yep.
And I think they could have played it better, because one of the things that I really liked about how they set it up is it's sending messages. It's seductive. It's luring it found the guy who could break it out of there, and it set a trap. It's an intelligent, cunning creature with a talent for manipulation, and to make it just come out as a big screamy CGI ball of tentacles. Yeah.
And I mean,
interesting version.
And I think if they didn't have the dragon there, then it would be yet another Marvel movie where it is all of the heroes that are there presently stand around, make a good pose, and then fight one giant beast.
Well, the beast, like, I don't know, why did it have to be a giant beast? Why couldn't it have been, like, it's...
Because what's the most existential terror is, like, this is something that is foreign to us, okay? It is so large and freakish that, like, we've never seen something like this before.
It doesn't have to be big, though.
Existential would be his mom comes back and fights him.
Okay, that's
fine.
Fine.
There could something like that where it's just like...
Yeah, it's a manifestation of his guilt.
Like, because I'm so enthralled by the story of him versus his dad that, like, I just wanted that. And then that kind of resolved, but then it just became like dragon fighting dragon, and I was not invested in that story in the slightest. And then Dad died rather unceremoniously. Kind of ceremoniously, but also like
a little more self-sacrifice in that one.
It wasn't self-sacrifice.
That's what
What did he do?
I mean, he didn't fight it. He made sure that the rings were able to go to.
He could have just given the rings. Shang-Chi had the rings.
Look, he's been alive for like how many years? Like he's been alive for like over 1,000 years at this point, close to.
Well, I know, like
that's not his personality. He's the only way he ever. Those kind of people, the only way they give up something is whenever they cannot hold it anymore. Yeah. When they're dead or dying, that's it. It's not, yeah, man, here you go. I appreciate it. Despite the fact that you're trying to go against me in every single measure, here you go. But it's, hey, yeah, these are no use to me anymore. Take them. You're my son. You've kicked my ass at this point. Take them. They're not going to do this beast any good.
I'll buy it. Not fully sold on it.
I'm with them.
Because I think
I'm more sold on it than I was after we watched it.
And I also
was very much against it when we watched it.
His dad, I really liked him as a character because he was really complex.
Right.
Yeah.
He had some redeemable features. He had some just outright dickery.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and that's like Kaylin and I were talking about this. She was kind of saying like, I wish that there wasn't a morally gray character without always having some purely evil behind it. And I kind of made the comment that to have a morally gray character, you need a pure evil behind it because you need something that corrupts the person while also giving the audience an understanding of why they're doing that. So I understand the need for something to be the bad thing, which ended up being the big giant tentacle dragon. But like, I just felt like this, and I've said this a lot on the podcast, I'm vehemently against bigger means better, or bigger means scarier. That's a big thing I hate about Star Wars in general, is Episode 4, Death Star. Episode 5, easily the best Star Wars. There is no Death Star.
No.
They're just on the run.
Episode 6.
Episode 6, bigger Death Star.
Death Star 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Episode 7, Planet Death Star. Episode 8, I genuinely really like. They're on the run.
Yeah, she's on the run.
Everything's fine.
And
Episode 9, a bunch of little Death Stars.
And also Episode 8, I still, going through the ship is still one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
That was so gorgeous.
But like that's my thing is like, you don't need big to tell a compelling story. And like and again, I appreciate and understand that like this is all like all the dragon stuff is tied into Chinese culture, and that makes me respect it so much more because that's what this movie needed to be.
So here's something I was just thinking of.
Yeah.
What if they wanted to throw this in there just to give kind of a neater ending to his father without it being, okay, he kills his father and he lives with that guilt? That has great story writing.
Right.
But would that necessarily be him from what we've seen? Like, how would that...
killing his father?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew the moment he's like, I'm going to kill my dad. I'm like, no, you're not. Let's be honest. You're the hero.
But what if, I mean, the whole point was just to have something that is like the soul thing. I'm blanking on the name. So bad. What if the whole point of it was just to have a disposable character? A disposable enemy? It doesn't matter what it was. What matters was that it was really, really powerful, and it made Wong take notice.
Yeah, and like, I'm not saying that a really, really powerful enemy was the thing. Like, I don't know. It's just like the two giant dragons fighting each other, and the hero of the story, like that.
Hey, Simu, just wave your arms around like you're doing magic and we'll blue screen it in behind you.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there was another way that the story could have ended. Honestly, a big part of me was rooting for his dad, like, actually, so here's the thing. His dad showed that there was something that could make him good.
Yes.
It was his family. And so I thought that that's something they could draw on at the end where, like, he is power hungry, but when he is rooted with his family, he can be good. And I was like, maybe he won't kill his dad. maybe we could actually get like a really cool villain, genuine redemption, happy family at the end. But like, then I was actually excited for that. But
then how does Sean get the rings?
He got, that's the thing. It's like when they were fighting, he got the rings.
Fair.
And so like they showed us that he can just have the rings now. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't have to be giving up. Like it could have like because they went back to his dad. Like I don't know I can't remember what was the cause of them going back to his dad. Because he had the rings. He did the whole thing. Like, he threw the rings down.
Yeah.
Like so he gave up the rings. But like that shows that you can give up the rings to where they're idle essentially.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of like proving how that shit works. Mm-hmm. And so his dad could have just been like, yeah, you beat me. I'm going to give you the rings. And also like him going, my family's what rooted me. Before it was my wife and like my kids, but I lost my way again when my wife died. And now I have my kids and my kids have proven that they are strong and like can be strong and good. And like, so there was so much they were setting up to like a happy family conclusion. And then his dad was just like, I'm gonna die now. Peace.
Conversely, what if though that was the ultimate thing for him though, was death was his release?
Well, I mean, and that I understand that too.
I think that's more of like what I think of it is like, okay, he admits, oh wow, you can control the rings. You beat me.
Yeah.
I was wrong about coming here, and my wife is definitely not there, so what do I even do? And I think, really, I mean, the whole reason he had kids was like, yeah, no, that's the whole point of what he wanted to exist as, is like, oh yeah, there's actually a point to some things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and then, like, this is just, we're not even reviewing the movie. Well, we are. We're discussing.
Yeah. We're having an interesting discussion.
I was going to say, like, if my ending had happened, the second movie would be so cool to watch his dad struggling with, like, the fact that he doesn't have an objective anymore.
Or an entire army.
Or even struggling with, like, addiction stuff of, like, withdrawal of having his rings that he can't depend on. Like...
Or what if, like, he only had half the rings? What if the rings just split?
They split.
Yeah, split down the middle, and then just they each have 4, but then there's just one that's just kind of...
That's 9. They each have 4, and then there's one that's...
One ring left over to rule them all!
Yep. That goes to
rings
Katie.
crossover.
I think, like, the story of him and, like, the family story was so good the entire time that it just kind of got overshadowed by the dragon mystical stuff. Which, again, you made a very good point that it is very integral to Chinese culture, and that's what this needed to be. Mm-hmm. Similar to like how Wakanda, they used a lot of African culture stuff. That's what it needed to be. Mm-hmm. Do not superficialize, like, non-white culture.
Right. It's not like, wow, this is... for some reason, 100 people with a British accent randomly in this culture, and they're in roughly the same dress. Sure,
right? Yeah, it's like actually Chinese culture, and I really do. You made like that,
like the giant creatures that they had running around Thalo.
Oh my god, I loved all of it.
I loved all those. The stylized.
I felt Narnia.
The stylized lions.
Yeah.
Like that was so cool to see.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And so we kind of got that, and like maybe there. So here's the thing, like. It could have been not a big baddie while you could still have the dragon. Because, so like, this is the thing, like Iron Fist, he got his powers from punching the heart of a dragon. But like, and so like the dragon exists as an element. But like they could have had the dragon like kind of like a speak softly and carry a big stick. Yeah, there's this dragon. We just saw it too. But like, it's the thing. We don't have to see it do the thing.
But I am glad, though, that the dragon was like... It wasn't, okay, flies out of the water, fireball, done, goes back into the water, done. I'm glad it was like, oh, hey, this thing also has a vulnerability. Mm-hmm. It has a soul, and it was almost dead. And that's what made Katie's action so important, was like,
That's true.
Saved a dragon. Like, this thing can die, too.
No, this is how they should have ended it.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi was about to kill his dad, and then Katie headshots the dude. Completely unsatisfying end around everything.
Nope, his sister uses the chain dagger.
Rope dart.
Rope dart, thank you.
Dude. When she picked up the rope dart as a kid, I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool to see. So what's her deal in the comics? Do you know it all? I know you haven't
Not
read.
Even slightly.
Oh, man.
It's like, yes, this is an origin story, I see.
This was a fantastic origin story for 3 characters. Like, it didn't feel like just an origin story. Like, we got the origin story, but, like, it did such a good job of telling the origin story from the middle of it. Like, because he'd already gotten his training. He's already a massively skilled fighter. That's the first hero. Well, I guess we kind of get it from...
It was more evolutionary than developmentary.
Right, yeah. And so they just did it really well. It was exciting. I liked it.
Shang-Chi has 5 sisters in the comics.
Oh.
She's kind of an amalgamation of most of them.
Okay.
2 of them in particular. Zheng Baoyu, known as the Cursed Lotus, and Zheng Shihua, known as Sister Hammer.
What else?
I still think the mom should have, or like a demon under the form of mom should have come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that would have been the
I feel like that, as cool as that would have been, I think that would have been a little cliche.
Then tentacles popped out of her back.
Yeah, like just bait, like the bait and switch, kind of like she walks out, "Come to me, my dear."
I think that would have been fantastic for his dad. Like, that is what crushes his dad.
That would have been so cliche, though.
It would have.
There's a lot of stuff in the movie that was kind of cliche.
That's happened so many times. It's like yes, this is what I've been wanting, and dies.
Yeah.
That would have been a massive cop-out.
The other thing that I had a problem with. So Matt, pop quiz
Preston.
on my opinions on movies.
Okay.
What's one of the biggest things that I have a problem with movies? Like, what's like a big thing that I often get upset about? Usually happens in the beginning of the movies.
Character development.
What?
Exposition. Bad exposition, to be specific.
There is bad exposition, where a character says a thing that, like, to another character that explains their history, but that character in real life would not say that thing that way. There's one line in the movie that just got my attention that I was like, that was poorly written, where she's just like, we've been friends for 10 years, like best friends for 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she would not say it like that to an actual person they've been best friends. And what really kind of makes me mad about it is that a better version of the line happens 30 minutes later. Like, when they're, like, when she finds out about all this stuff and he's about to leave, she's like, I've known you for half your life, and I didn't know any of this. Like, there you go. There's your exposition.
Yeah, great.
Like, we've already established through just the relationship that they're best friends. And then that gives us the piece of they've been best friends for this long. That entire line was unnecessary.
Yep.
God, just that one line. I was like, you suck.
And what I picked up from that line was like, how many times was he trying to kick the ass of a bunch of assassins around you?
Never?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when and why would she have seen that in the first place?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
It's like, I understand, like, okay, yeah, here's this conversation. I got to tell you about my past whenever he's trying to bury his past in every way imaginable.
Well, she kind of says that. She's like, and actually, I see your point exactly, that she's like, I understand that there's, like, things in your past that you never wanted to talk about, and I was respectful of that. But, like, what the dude? Like, that dialogue between the two of them, like, in that room, was very, very good. Like, it developed their relationship and also her mentality, and, like, kind of just, it tells a lot about their past and how they are together. And, like, you just did that one line. Didn't need it.
No.
What else?
Music's pretty good.
Music was fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, spectacular, but there were some moments where I was bopping along.
Yeah, there was I could definitely tell that it drew a lot of its approach from Black Panther, where it was mixing kind of hip-hop modern with traditional Asian sounds, which I appreciated very much in Black Panther, and I appreciated it very much, again, With Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think we discussed a lot of the stuff.
I want some dragon scale tech.
Dude.
Heck yeah.
His armor looks so cool.
Like, okay, that color red is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the actual, like, okay, hits something and you can see just like the movement. I'm like, oh, that's tight.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Yep.
Oh, the rings. The 10 rings.
Oh, yeah.
The actual rings.
Yeah.
So, Brendan, do you know what the actual 10 rings in the comics were like?
There was Mount Doom, there was Celebrimbor, and Sauron.
7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men doomed to die.
However, their brains were at least the dwarves, they just really did nothing for them. They just continued to dig down.
Right.
So the 10 rings in the comics, do you know what they do?
No.
So they are not that.
Okay.
At all.
Let me pull up
not
really quick.
What at all?
I'll build up to it while you're pulling up the
Not like what they showed up in the movie as, or as made by an elven lord inside of a mountain.
Not like the wrist rings. So they were actually like 10 individual finger rings.
Okay.
All with different powers. And so Matt is pulling up the list. Some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are good. Some of them... It's like basically when they were writing the 10 rings, they had like 3 good ideas and then like, oh shit, I got 7 more to do.
All right. So this is from the comics. This is a nice little panel that shows each of the 10 one and has a little thing that talks about what they all do.
Is he going to get a gauntlet?
So there's Remaker, which shatters and reimagines relationships on a subatomic level. There's Influence, creates various forces that cause a body to undergo change. There's Spin, which decelerates time around the wearer, appears as super speed to the watcher. There's Spectral, winds up and warps the air itself, can appear ghostly, can appear not at all. Nightbringer creates malleable darkness, a dark light. Zero opens a beam of nothingness from the icy heart of outer space, creates a deafening boom as the vacuum is filled. The Liar creates world upon world of illusory fable as impossible to escape as a tangle of dreams, but vexes the wearer as well. Lightning creates a directable electrical atmospheric discharge. Incandescence contains the miniature heart of a star and scorches the air before it. And Daimonic, the irresistible urge that propels into the unknown. The Compulsive creates loyalty, creates obsession. So
the 10 rings, I loved this approach of it. Like, because with those rings, you would have definitely been like, that's OP.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy powerful, and there's no way you would have been able to write a good story.
Yep.
But
you could have some great comedic bits like around Thor, like, hey bro, watch this. You know.
They're
these
goofy.
These rings are very akin to DC Comics Mr. Terrific T-Spheres. Those are words I said in an order that you know. There's a man named Mr. Terrific.
I got that much.
Early comics.
And he has some T-spheres.
He had these things called T-spheres that are basically like really advanced technology that he can control with a mind thing. Comics are stupid.
Is there something you can't explain? Magic or nanobots?
Comics
basically, yeah, and they're nanobots. And so they basically do whatever he needs them to do in terms of like they can move and like be malleable and stuff like that. So they were very much like that, and I've always liked that kind of thing where it's you don't have powers, but like when he ran on them, that was like I've always loved unique usage of powers, like with Captain Falcon. Watching him interact with, like, use his wings and the shield, like, interacting that Steve couldn't, loved that shit so much.
Stormbringer, I think, or Breaker.
Stormbreaker, like, the axe.
I love that because it's multi-tool and it's like, okay, wait, he's actually able to cleave through things, still summon lightning, and then swing it around like he always did before.
And so, like, watching, because his dad... I wonder if that's like an element of kind of tradition versus progressive, where his dad kind of just used it as like a rail gun essentially off his arm,
which worked really well.
Yes. Oh my god, the scene where he like did it into the dude in front of his.
Also, just the opening where he's fighting the army.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Like, but he always just that's kind of how he used it. Is just like brunt force. But then watching Shang.
he still used it really well. I mean, the whole movie, it felt like it was a martial arts movie thing where it's a weapon and they use it creatively.
Yeah, and you can see like, I mean, you watch it. I could note several distinct martial arts, either weapons or attacks that were mimicked by the rings. So he did a couple moves where it was like mimicking a rope dart with the rings. And that kind of stuff I thought was really cool. But again, he was very traditional about it.
Right.
He didn't run on them. Like, that's something that Shang could do. And it was really cool to watch how he's like a fresh take on it. But you only got a little bit of it because we're going to get so much of it for the next 5 years.
Honestly, I think the best example of it is actually killing the monster in the very end.
Oh, yeah.
Make them transfer and it's like go through like, that is brutal. That is like hardcore.
Who was it that said like he basically created a Kamehameha?
Yeah.
Like just the fact that he can do that stuff and like we don't know if his dad could have done that stuff, but was just like, I don't need to be creative about it because
who else can touch me? Right,
exactly. And so like Shang was just like, I'm gonna feel these things and I'm gonna do some really cool stuff. And I was so for it.
Yeah.
When he could start controlling it.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. We've talked a lot about this one. Should we end spoilers and just do like some really quick
Yep.
And then we'll rate it and stuff like that.
Yep.
So plot, very solid.
Yep.
Characters, all of the big ones, like we dwelled on a side character for so long because of how well they're written. We missed several characters. We missed his sister entirely. Fantastically well written.
His sister's going to fill the void of Black Widow.
Yeah.
Yep.
The action, all fantastic and fresh, and their takes on very comic booky stupid things, great. More overview. What were some problems that we saw?
The biggest problem I think we got into is the ending. Sort of the big climactic final fight has some issues with it.
Yeah.
There's some clunky moments at times with the exposition or just with the way the story progresses. It's kind of, I mean, it deals with magic on more of a level, and so there's a little bit of hand waviness with some of the mechanics. But that's fine. That's to be expected.
I think there are a couple of points, and this is just a me thing. I don't know if it'll relate to anyone else, but I think there are sometimes a movie feels a little cold.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, it's not cooked yet. It was all cooked and it was all fine. But for me, early stages just felt like I don't know about it. Something didn't feel quite right. It was still enjoyable, but something just didn't quite settle. Still loved it.
Yeah. All right. We don't have that new fancy rating system developed at all. No. So let's just stick to the old tried and true out of 10.
I'll stick to that. I can't touch it.
This is a strong 8. Okay. I don't know if it quite makes it to a 9. I think there are enough problems, small enough problems that kind of just don't quite make it. That maybe if I went back and watch, I feel like it's a movie that if I when I watch it again, I'm going to like it more because I will kind of be expecting the problems that I saw.
And you might see things that you missed.
Right. Yeah. So for right now, it's a upper 8.
Okay.
For me.
For me, it's probably a high 7, low 8.
Okay.
I liked it. I will happily watch it again, but I don't know how well it's going to stick with me.
Right.
The day after we got out of it, I forgot that I had seen it.
Okay.
But we'll see where it settles. Right now, it's between a 7. I think I have it as an 8 right now on IMDb, but it might settle down to a 7 after
There's a lot of it sticking with me. Like I've been thinking about it all day, honestly.
Okay.
Brandon?
Look, I love y'all. I've known y'all for a long time. I cannot understand fully your rating system. Y'all have explained it to me many times. However,
10 is good, 1 is bad.
8 is fine. 8 is excellent for me. Cool. That's a good movie.
Good enough.
I'll watch it again. I had a good time.
That's great. That's an 8.
There we go. Nailed it.
Tight.
All right.
Hi everyone, Matt here. Hope you've been enjoying listening to what we've been up to in the news. If you want to get more than just the brief highlights of this, we do an audio-only version of the podcast that really gets into all the nooks and crannies of our opinions. That's going to be wherever fine podcasts are purveyed, be that SoundCloud or iTunes or Spotify or Podbean or iHeartRadio. So check it out there. Thanks for watching this far, and we hope you keep listening.